Today we're going to start our cactus collage, and we're going to do this in 2 steps. So today we're going to make our cactuses and we're going to create our painted paper, and then when that dries we'll come back next week and we will collage everything together. So today we're going to focus on how lines can help show texture in our artwork, and we're also going to do some printmaking using markers and some recycled plastic bags. So we're going to draw our cactus first, and you can do it with pencil first and then outline, or you can go right with the Sharpie. It does need to be a permanent marker, not a washable marker for this step, because our paper is going to get wet and we don't want this to bleed. So we're going to draw 2 cactuses on our paper. I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to make from the bottom, I'm just going to kind of go up. It curves around and it goes down, but it gets a little thinner as it goes down. And you should have about a hand space still left on your paper, because this is where our other cactus is going to go. So off of here, I'm going to kind of repeat the shape, but it'll be different sizes and going in different directions, because a cactus doesn't grow perfectly straight all the time. So I'm going to add a smaller one right about here. I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to make one go this way, and I'm going to add another smaller one here. So I think that looks good for my cactus, but whatever looks good for yours. So we have that one. We're going to go and do our other one, a little different on this side. This one is going to be a little bit more straight, so I'm going to start at the bottom. It's going to go up close to the top of the paper, but not touching it, around and down. And for this, you still want to have, I have about 3 finger space, a little bit on the side of my paper, because we're going to add an arm for our cactus. We're going to add one over here as well. I'm going to add mine right here because I have some empty space. So I'm going to curve a line up, and then you're just going to curve over and you follow that same line back. So I have one here, and I'm going to put another one on this side to kind of balance it out. So I'm going to go down a little bit, not quite to the bottom, and repeat that. So this time it goes this way, and I curve it around and back. And eventually some of this will get covered up when we create our sand, our desert area. So we're going to show now the texture of a cactus, because if you were to touch a cactus in real life, it'd be prickly. So on this one, we're going to use some dashed lines, but we don't want them perfectly straight. So remember, dashes are short, straight little lines, but I'm having them go in different directions on my cactus. On this cactus, we're going to do a straight line, but then we're going to do some curved lines to kind of help show the dimension. So in the middle, right where that point is, I'm going to make a straight line down to the bottom. Now on my left side, they're curved this way. So I'm going to start my line a little bit curved, then it's going to straighten out. So I start almost right where this one is, and I curve it a bit, and then it goes straight down. I'm going to just do one more. I don't want to crowd them. So on this side, since it's to the right, it's going to curve this way. So same thing, close to this one. I go down, and I'm going to just do one more because I don't want to crowd it. For the arms, I'm going to do probably about maybe 2 lines. Yeah, for mine, 2 fits well. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Now for this one, you kind of have some options. You could leave it just with these lines, or if you want to show some more texture, I kind of call them an X or a V cactus. You can use X's on those lines, and notice they're still on the line, but they're spread out. They're not touching each other. Or you could use the letter V. Same thing, spread out, not touching each other. So that's up to you. For mine, I'm going to do some X's. So they're not very large and they're spread out. So when I go up to here, I don't even want it in a straight line. So maybe I'll start this one a little taller. So they're not in a straight line and they're not touching each other. But I try to get the X's on the line. For these, when your line curves, your X might go in a little different direction. So just think about that if you still want it on the arm. Alright, so we have the Sharpie step done. Our next step, we're going to need some water, washable markers, and a plastic bag. Okay, with our bag, I'm going to take some scissors and I'm going to just try and cut out a rectangle out of my bag that is the size of my paper or a little bigger. Alright, I have my bag cut. It's pretty flat. You can also use some tape if you want to help it stick to your surface where you're working, if you're worried about it coming up. So I'm going to add some tape to mine. You want it pretty smooth, but if there's some wrinkles, that will just add to our detail. And we're going to use, for this step now, washable markers. So I have some different shades of green, and I'm going to use some yellow as well to mix in with my colors. You don't have to color the whole bag. You can see there's still a little bit of white space. That's fine. You don't have to get everything covered. So for this next step, we want to transfer this to our cactus paper. I'm going to use a spray bottle with water and just lightly spray some water on top of my marker. If you don't have a spray bottle, you could get a damp sponge and you could just wipe your paper with the damp sponge and make your paper wet. So you can kind of see already where it's getting wet. I'm going to take my paper, I'm going to turn it over, and because I want to, and once I get it where I want, I'm just going to, and then I'm going to press it down, and I'm going to rub. Now if I rub it over my hands on this, I'm going to get a bunch of marker on my hand. So I'm trying to just rub the paper, especially where the cactuses are, because that's where we want the most color to show up. We can kind of peel it up and check it out. And it's okay if there's some little white space. I think it makes it look more interesting. And then now you have your paper painted for your cactus. We're going to let this dry, and we're going to clean off our bag, and we're going to be doing our sky, our background next. We're going to reuse this bag again to do our marker print for our sky, but we're going to use different colors. So I want to wipe this bag off. So you can use like a paper towel or a napkin, and you just want to try and get most of that green off of your bag. If you still have another option, if you don't want to use a paper towel, if you have enough, you could also just get another piece of paper and do another print, and that way you'll have some colored paper on hand to use in other projects. Okay. So I want to do a sunset background for mine. So I'm choosing to use some warm colors, so reds and yellows, and I'm using washable markers again. So whatever Alright, it's the same as before. I'm going to spray this, or you can wipe another sheet of paper with a damp sponge if you don't have a spray bottle to activate those markers to turn them into our paint. And I'm going to turn the paper, and I'm going to rub. And you can always peel it back to check. If I want a little bit more. And same thing as before, you're going to peel it up slowly. You're going to let this dry. And then you're going to join me next week to see how we collage everything together.